Well, welcome to my review on Destiny Taken King. Well, I have to admit that it is a very good game. It is really an improvement to the franchise overall. I have to admit that it's just adding all this content must be a good idea. I have personally played a lot of Destiny Taken King, and I find it interesting how the factions now work, how all the new functions are amazing. The Taken enemies are interesting, must say. Interesting. So, I must say that I do enjoy this. That this is really cool if you ask me. The new guns definitely had a nice little feature. And obviously, with the new leveling system, it's no longer the unbalanced thing of randomized gear that depends on your level, it's how much you play. And of course, light level still does play in, but again, that is really more when you play, because the harder stuff you play against good, there's better chances for engrams, and well, it's amazing in my opinion. I've played through I haven't been able to do the raid yet because it is extremely hard. I'll probably post an update when I do. But so far, looking at the new subclasses, the Stormcaller is great for group killing because of how it allows for the chaining of the lightning, allowing it to go through. I don't even know. I haven't been able to find out the maximum, but it definitely is effective against group enemies like Thrall because of how they like to rush you in big groups. So, I have to admit, it's very effective against Hive. The Sunbreaker is great for heavier enemies because of the heavy damage from the hammer. I have to admit, it does improve the overall game. So, in my opinion, my favorite is the Night Stalker, of course, because of its more tactical way of playing. It allows a very interesting thing, and personally I think it's amazing. The new levels are good detail, new areas are amazing, and more story than ever before. The Taken is another subject, though, which is a very interesting one. Taken are frustrating at times, if not annoying, straight up. So I have to say, the Taken are kind of a plus or minus. You can see it as a plus because they're a harder enemy, or you can see it as a minus because of how, the Taken won't be easy to beat, but because their new abilities are annoying, but still, again, like I said, add a new aspect to the game that I must find intriguing. The Phalanxes are probably my most hated class. The Phalanxes are the captains, really, because of how both of them have very powerful abilities. Phalanxes have a knockback on their shield, which allows them to send you flying off edges. And the captains have a blinding ability that disables your ability to see for a minute. And it slows you down too. So I must say that they're very tactical because there's more of them than ever before, and they add little abilities to make them more unique. Sorry. So yeah, personally, in my opinion, it's very good. I will go a little bit more in depth with the subclasses though, because I do find them interesting. The Sunbreaker, as I said before, has a hammer that he gets to throw, which I find pretty interesting. The hammer can do incredible melee damage and explodes on contact, so good for getting out little groups of enemies. He can also throw a large grenade that does a large burst of damage, which can, in the Crucible, very easily do tons of damage to guardians or groups of enemies. Then, of course, there's his melee, which is a very powerful, near insta-kill melee on Guardians of the Crucible, so watch out for some breakers in the Crucible. The Stormcaller is very good for group enemies because he has abilities that allows him or her to chain his damage to the other enemies. For example, one hit on the Thrall can allow about 10 thralls to be electrocuted at once with the Storm Trance ability, which is, I gotta say, is amazing. It gives the new power to each of the characters, and like I said, the Night Stalker is very tactical. He has the Smoke ability, which allows him to cloak him and his allies, or slow down enemies and poison them. And then there's also the sorry. Then there's also the last ability, finally, of course, the grenades, which are amazing. Personally, they're traps, because one will create a wall, the other will create a void that really just sucks in enemies. And remember the void grenade from the Voidwalker? It's back. So, and of course the main ability of the bow, the tether shot as I call it, or shadow shot as they do, allows you to tether enemies and slow them. Personally, I think this is a great idea because there's a lot of fast-moving enemies and bosses that without this ability are fairly hard to beat. Smoke can also when it blinds and slows enemies, it can suppress